The bracket for the first ever 12-team college football playoff is set. Your teams that have a first-round bye are Oregon at the 1 seed, Georgia at the 2 seed, Boise State at the 3 seed, and Arizona State at the 4 seed. Your last conference champ, the ACC conference champ, Clemson, sneaks back into the playoff, and they earned the 12 seed. And that's where I'm going to start today, the 5 seed and the 12 seed. Texas at the 5, hosting Clemson in round 1. That's going to be your 4 p.m. Eastern kick on Saturday, December 21st on TNT. And I think for Clemson, you're just happy to be here. You're just happy to be invited to the party. It felt like their season was dead. They lost 3 games, but they make the ACC Conference Championship game and then kick a 50-plus yard field goal for the win. So they're kind of playing with house money. You're just happy to be here. Texas earned the 5 seed according to the committee. There's questions about the wins that they have on their resume. There's questions about their resume in general. But Texas, you have the 2 losses to Georgia. You earn the 5 seed. You're playing the lowest ranked team in the playoff. But then if you win that game, you're going to play Arizona State, the 4 seed, in the second round. And that would be a game to watch out for because Arizona State is one of, if not maybe the hottest team in college football right now. So that would not just be a assume Texas wins that game and moves on to the next round. Your 6th seed is Penn State. They're going to host SMU, and that's going to be your noon Eastern kick on Saturday, December 21st on TNT. This is where there's holes in the format, and we're going to get into this later, but Penn State, there's questions about Penn State's resume. They don't have a great win on their resume. They have the 2 losses, both to Ohio State and Oregon in the Big Ten Championship game. They drew the 11 seed SMU, the ACC Conference Championship game loser in round 1. That's a pretty good draw. And then they'll play Boise State in round 2, assuming they beat SMU. Penn State lucked out. They got the best draw in the entire playoff. And that's a result of them losing the Big Ten Championship game to Oregon. I mean, that doesn't quite make sense. But if you asked me, who would I want to play in round 1? Either Clemson or SMU, of course, and then in round 2, out of Oregon, Arizona State, Boise State, and Georgia, I would want to play Boise State. It's no disrespect to the Broncos, and Ashton Genty is a monster, but Oregon's the best team in the country. Georgia, when you get good Georgia, is a problem. Arizona State is maybe the hottest team in college football, so yeah, I would take Boise State. So Penn State has a dream path. Your number 7 seed Notre Dame will host 10 seed Indiana. That's going to be an in-state matchup, and I think that's going to be your Friday night game, Friday, December 20th. 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC, ESPN. I like Notre Dame here, and it would be so much fun to see them take care of business against Indiana and go on to play Georgia in round 2. That'd be a really fun matchup. This Notre Dame team that has NFL guys all over the defensive side of their roster. They can run the football. I think a Notre Dame-Georgia matchup in the second round would be a lot of fun to watch. And that brings us to our 8 seed Ohio State hosting 9 seed Tennessee. That's your Saturday, December 21st, 8 p.m. Eastern primetime matchup in the shoe on ESPN ABC. The winner of this game goes on to play Oregon. This is where the format kind of gets wacky because if you're Oregon, you're the best team in the country. You went 13-0. You won the Big Ten. You did not lose a single game, and you're rewarded with a first-round bye, which is great, but now you're going to play Ohio State or Tennessee in round 2. And I think they'd be more scared about Ohio State in a rematch than they would against Tennessee, playing Tennessee for the first time. I think moving forward with the 12-team playoff, there's going to have to be changes that start next year because this format is all out of sorts. It kind of feels like Oregon is being penalized by going 13-0 and winning the Big Ten by having to play in Ohio State or Tennessee in round 2, whereas Penn State, who lost the Big Ten, lost to Oregon, lost to Ohio State, doesn't have a great win on their resume. They have the best path. It's almost like they're rewarded for losing the Big Ten Championship game. The path of hosting the ACC Conference Championship game loser in round 1, hosting them, like playing them at Beaver Stadium and then playing Boise State in round 2, that's an awesome path for Penn State. So moving forward, there's lots of questions about what do you do with conference championship games? Do you keep them? Do you get rid of them? But the conferences are so big now, all the teams in these conferences aren't playing each other. So that's one question is, what do you do with these conferences moving forward? What do you do with the conference championship games? But I think the biggest thing that we probably should implement, at least next year and then moving forward, is reseeding after the first round games are being played. So you keep the 4 teams that have a first round bye, whatever that may be, and then you reseed after the first round games play. And don't get me wrong, I'm very excited about the 12-team playoff. I'm very excited to see home playoff games being played in December. That's going to be very cool. But there's questions about these things, like conference championship games. What do you do with them? You want to keep the 4 first-round byes, that's fine, but then we should probably be reseeding after the first round. So I think it's fair to assume that we'll see some changes to this format, probably starting next year and beyond.